here, guys, would be nowadays, we are getting into it, nowadays the epicenter, sort of like for the nightlife, where all the pub crawls, the foreign exchange students come over here, bars, little restaurants, some smaller clubs around here, where people come and get busy, crazy, drunk, essentially, right? It's very interesting because during the day, as you guys can see, it functions like your little, sort of like, not quite, but you could say a little village within the city center. Your typical Lisbon's neighborhood, not much happening, very quiet. Still has this sort of like a little bit of a sense of community. This is not the one where you feel it the most, but still, you can still have a bit of that over here. And then at night, particularly around the weekends, especially the closer we get to the winter months, it gets only crazier around the weekends. If it's summer, if it's hot outside, it's pretty much the whole week, guys. Parties everywhere. It completely changes face. You guys know this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, the book, the story of the gentleman turned into a monster. It's kind of like this. I'm joking, but it's kind of like it's very quiet during the day, as you guys will see around here, and then at night, it puts on a different mask, so to speak, over here. Let's check this out, guys. Not much happening, super quiet. There's some little grocery store still. Not much happening. You guys remember the 74 revolution, 75 first democratic election. In the 80s, Portugal joins the European Union. And so the country is opening up for the first time, right, ever. So there's like things like capitalism, pop culture, getting into the country, things that people had never exactly experienced before, exactly, Ben. And so over here, what we have is essentially, this is kind of like a working class neighborhood in its essence. So what you have is around the 80s, a lot of artists and musicians moving over here. And so this becomes sort of like one of the sort of like busier cultural, sort of like artistic, bohemian centers, you could say, of Lisbon back in the 80s. Where they start creating the first clubs. It was very big in the beginning for the LGBT community over here, because this is things, guys, that are just showing up after the regime that took over for so many decades, right? And so this becomes kind of like a vibrant, super busy, with a lot of character, a lot of personality, the bohemian center of Lisbon, right? Became super popular to the point where more and more locals were coming over here, and then eventually, a bit sadly, it started losing that bohemian vibe, that bohemian artistic character, personality, to the point where nowadays, 2024, after the 80s, it's kind of like just a crazy, chaotic party center of Lisbon. Lost a little bit of that bohemian essence. Because it's kind of like a little bit like no holds barred all over the place over here. But still, it's still very popular within the locals, like there's many locals coming over here. I usually also come here every now and again. Not so much anymore, but every now and again you'll still find. And you do still find every day locals over here, obviously.
And I can see it, they've got a lot of architecture on the wall.
Of course, you guys see the tiles everywhere. This would be like a direct line connecting us to Arab culture that was present over here, obviously. But this is a bit different than in the old Arab tradition, because what you see here would be ceramic squares, hand painted. So you have these patterns, hand painted. If you guys go to the south of Spain, for instance, Seville, Granada, that whole area, you guys will see that they have these beautiful, intricate, crazy patterns built with single pieces applied to the wall. So we have these like beautiful sort of like designs, super intricate, it's like an insane craftsmanship. Over here, what we have is not single pieces designing a whole pattern. We have ceramic squares, hand painted still. The cameraman, força aí. We got over here, guys, one of the many problems / solutions in plain sight, the devoluted buildings, abandoned buildings of Lisbon, owned by the city.
Is that an iconic building?
No, it's iconic in the sense of it represents the solution but that's also the problem, because we have this huge ongoing real estate crisis. The prices of the rents are going through the roof. More and more locals by the year, not even by the year, sometimes by the month, being pushed away from the historical, the city center over here. And then you walk around and you see so many of these abandoned, devoluted buildings owned by the city hall. And so what could be the solution starts becoming a huge problem also because no one's doing anything about it.
Do it something.
That's the $1 million question. Politics, money, influence. I honestly cannot answer that question, guys. It's a paradox. It's a paradox.
So famous in Portugal is this.
The cobblestone, yeah, the limestone, iconic. This study started. It picked up
That's the hard work.
like crazy. Very intricate craftsmanship, obviously. There's not a lot of people keeping it alive anymore.
This is.
Obrigada pela promoção.
But yeah, this is the tudo bem? Estás bem? This is the legendary cobblestone of Lisbon.
Yeah.
It's
So unique.
ubiquitous all over the city right now. It started to take off much more around after the earthquake. They were paving the streets with this cobblestone. There's some quarries outside of Lisbon.
This is one thing I see when I come to Portugal in Lisbon. It's just everywhere and it's so beautiful.
I love it, but it's also a bit of a point of tension, a bit controversial because a lot of people say it's super slippery, it's dangerous, you're tripping all over the place. But still, it's iconic. It's like Lisbon. Visually, it's Lisbon. Like you look at it, it represents the city. It retains the old character of the city. And it's also kind of like a little bit like going against the grain. And everything nowadays is like mass produced. And it's kind of like there's no identity behind it. This kind of like you still have to have someone over here applying every single piece and sort of like modulating it to the whole action. Over here, guys, we can stop a little bit over here, guys, to talk a little bit about this Song of Lisbon, this music genre of the Portuguese, right? I don't know if you guys have heard about it. This melancholy, sad song of Lisbon that was born in neighborhoods much like this. Bairro Alto being one of them. Then you have Alfama by the castle, the old sailors' communities, and there's the romanticized version. It's a very interesting. It's a cool one because people say there's the idea that it was born around here, more or less 200 years ago in these streets over here by the castle, within the sailing community. There used to be a lot of sailors living around here back in the 1800s, 1820s, like 200 years ago. Keep in mind, Portuguese is a country of sailors and poets, right? There's no more sailing anymore, so now there's poetry. I would say like the concentration per capita of poets in Portugal is one of the biggest in the world. I mean, or everyone fancies himself a poet or themselves. Yours included. But there's always, guys, this notion of waxing poetic about life. These outbursts of lyricism and romanticism and all of that, right? And so, the melancholy, the mild sense of depression, the aching of the soul, heavy chest, sense of unease, right? The longing, it's a big one. The longing for someone. I miss you so much. It's the word we use. I have so much saudade for you. It's what we say, saudade. Right? Talking to someone, you're writing to someone. Oh, I miss you so much. It's that. That's the longing for someone. Can be also the longing for someone that's dead already. Can be the longing for a moment in your past. You're reminiscing about something lost back there in time. It can also be, guys, the longing for a specific location. So imagine now you guys go back home. You're reminiscing about Lisbon. It's that longing also. And also the longing, paradoxically, it can be the projection of a longing into the future. So you're longing for something that's out there, over there, around the corner, a silver lining, some sort of like return to glory, something like this, right? So it's a longing for something that you see in your future. And even more paradoxical than that, and this is a very Portuguese one, it can be experiencing something in the present moment, right? You're super happy about a moment you're living right now. Imagine a celebration. You're super happy, overwhelmed with joy, right? And you're already putting yourself in the mindset of longing for that thing because you lose it. The moment will pass. And so that a lot of people say, guys, come on, this is not just Portuguese, we just have a word for that. Even though you don't have that word in Polish or in English, people still feel it the same. And so, but we like to say, this is just for the Portuguese. I mean, it's just a little something to differentiate us. But no, everyone feels all of this, right? But we just have this one word that sort of like encapsulates all of this. And so you would have at some point, 1820s, people, the ladies over here, singing about these themes. The longing, the nostalgia, the sadness, the sense of overwhelm, the sense of unease. How can we raise our kids like this? Shitty streets, muddy, puddles of dirty water, fish carcasses from the river rotting about, fresh produce from the markets thrown everywhere. We don't know what happened to our husbands. They're away. Are they dead or not? How cruel the Atlantic is, always stealing our husbands. Like how unrelenting the whole city is. But there's always this sense of hope, the sense that better days are ahead of us. And so you would hear around this one period, ladies singing these beautiful sad songs, a cappella. So there's no music behind it, guys, okay? Just words. Freestyle, stream of consciousness, singing. So not in the sense of rapping, but in the sense of melodic singing off the top. No lyrics written beforehand. This was kind of like just emptying their souls, right? But so then people started hearing it, and it's like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Out of all of this sadness and tragedy and drama and poverty comes this organically beautiful, sad song that tells us the stories of Lisbon, of our people, our identity, right? And so people started identifying the song of Lisbon, Fado, the fate of Lisbon, as if, guys, a country of poets, many people throughout the history of the city writing about Lisbon as a woman, symbolically. You would see showing up this image of Lisboa, as a woman, the city of the seven hills representing the curves of this woman's body. The river would be her hair. And so you would have this lyrical image of a woman sleeping by the Atlantic Ocean. Lisboa, her name. And so people started saying, this is actually beautiful, as if the city is trying to talk to us. She, Lisboa, is using her women as vessels, as channels to talk to us, to give us her stories, right? So the Song of Lisbon is born. Eventually, the neighborhood sort of like, in some sense, is sort of like rehabilitated by that. You guys listen to this?
Yeah.
This would be nowadays the guitars that give a basis, a net to the song that's sung. The guitars, the fado guitars, the sad guitars. But it started as just a song, just words, just a song, right? And then, guys, the whole song started becoming super popular. More and more people were coming over here to listen, to take their clothes off. Now, just to listen to them. And so then what we have is literally the song moving away from the streets into the bars and the taverns, the nightlife, the bohemia, embraced by the community. You have the little kids growing up, listening to their mommies and their aunties and their grandmas singing the songs. So now you have the kids as the younger men singing the songs. It becomes this sort of like communal experience. It's not like I wouldn't say necessarily a huge moment of celebration like you would have with tango in Argentina or flamenco in Spain, where you got everyone applauding and cheering and singing along while the performance is going. In Fado, you have to keep quiet. We have the saying, silent.
Just sing the word.
Exactly. Exactly like that. We have even a saying that goes, silence. Fado is about to be sung or performed. It's kind of like, at some point, it's kind of like solemn, like a prayer in community.
I don't know if I'm correct.
Tell me,
yes,
my dear.
some years ago about one lady.
There was one lady, iconic queen of Fado called Amália,
Yes.
Amália Rodrigues.
Yeah, she was on the old world.
Black shawl,
Yes.
red lips, big hair, this kind of like
Yes. I saw it on
very
YouTube.
cool and collected
Yes.
presence, beautiful voice.
Yes.
She became super popular around the 60s
Yes.
because
yes,
she was a
exactly.
superstar of Fado, the soul of Portugal, right? And this is smack in the middle of the fascist regime, and she was one of the few exceptions that were allowed to travel the world, taking the Portuguese song, the Portuguese way of life to all the corners of the world. And there's some people saying she had some connections with Salazar, the main dictator, because she was very popular, invited to speak to the mayors, to the prime ministers, to the presidents of all of these countries all over the world, gathering information and things like that. But this is kind of like conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
The reality is, I don't know for a fact if that happened or not. What happened was she was the most, at some point, virtuoso fado singer, known as the queen of fado, the one that blew the song, the music genre, all around the world. Exactly, Ben. Right, exactly, Ben. So what you have is the song of Lisbon becoming the song of Portugal, the song of the Portuguese at some point. Because now that one feeling of the saudade is not confined to the city, is something felt all over the country.
Yeah.
So the song started traveling to all of these places.
Kind of like a national song now of Portugal.
Something like that, because you don't have just one song, Ben. It's a music genre.
Okay.
So you have many songs like jazz or the blues. You have many songs.
of them.
The canon is almost never ending because there's many people nowadays writing a lot of poems for people to sing, coming up with musical scores, things like that, right? To the point where nowadays it's become so ingrained, guys, in Portuguese culture that you have people mixing it up with anything you guys can think of, with rapping and old African rhythms from the old Portuguese colonies, electronic music, all of that, right? Check out over here, coincidentally, there's a very iconic fado house, guys, over here in Lisbon. Tasca do Chico, Chico's joint. Chico would be Francis or Francisco, it's like a nickname, Chico. Chico, and then Tasca. Tasca would be the name in Portuguese or Lisbon that we use for hole in the wall, dive bar, diner, smaller place where you get the regular everyday today Portuguese food, the chorizos, the Portuguese tapas. We don't say tapas, but still we say petisco, smaller bites. And so essentially in places like these, guys, over here, this one with the pink facade, you have, they open up their doors around 7 p.m. and then you have a restaurant that works as a fado house, where you would have the singers while you're having dinner, performing the songs. And they still retain the original essence, which would be,
like this.
you have something organized already? Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it, exactly that. Fado show. It's exactly that. So there's ones that you can book in advance. It's a bit more expensive also. These ones, you guys should show up around 7 p.m. They usually start singing around 8 p.m. This is a night time. There's no fado usually in the daylight. Because this is kind of like that quiet down affair, right? And you have the singers coming and going, and usually in places like this one, there's no reservations, no bookings. You show up, and you have the people.
This is okay. You don't need to make any reservations.
No, for this one you don't.
You just show up,
You don't,
and
no.
that's it.
If you guys arrange it with the platform over here, Wild Walkers, there's also fado shows, so you can definitely do that. It's also very interesting. Bit of context, fado house, all of that. But yeah, it's very interesting. And I usually say it's good that you guys have the booking already, because I usually say we got a rule for the family in the morning, my kids, that you guys cannot miss an opportunity or the opportunity to check out the fado performance while in Lisbon. So you guys got that sorted. Charlie, you gotta go check it out, brother. I can give you a name for some other places. Beautiful one, guys. Even if you don't understand a word they're singing, it's Portuguese. It's music, exactly. You feel it. It's the energy exchange. It's the electricity you feel from the singers. And because it's in such close quarters, you feel it right there, like in front of you. Even though nowadays you have many famous singers and performers singing it in big concert halls and big music halls and even stadiums sometimes, the essence is kind of like a bit smaller affair. Not a lot of people in little places, restaurants, things like that. Okay, my kids, we got 1 o'clock almost around the corner. I'll shut up in a second, let you guys go about your business. Go grab some lunch. Do you guys smell this? Do you guys smell this? It's kind of like sweet, a little bit. This is the smell of pastel de nata, fresh off the oven. Have you guys tried this?
Yes, the yellow one.
How many? That's the question. Yes. I usually say, guys, it's not a question of have you tried it? It's a question of how many have you had already? I can give you guys some. You have not?
I don't think so.
Ah, Ben, come on, man. You're killing me, brother.
The last time we were here.
Yeah.
Ah, but not this time. Okay, guys, let's wrap it up over here. This is the famous or infamous 28, as you wanna, as however you wanna see it.
So this 28 goes around the city of Lisbon?
Yeah, it goes around the city. It does not go around because it goes one way, and then it comes back down. It comes back. You can buy the ticket on the tram itself.
Oh, really?
Or you guys can go. Or you guys can go to any.
But like you said, the queue
20,
over that-
20, 20.
We have this one.
If you guys have the yellow cards for the public transportation,
Yeah.
Charlie,
Yeah.
you guys go down to any subway station, metro station,
And just top up.
and you just top them up exactly. And you can use them for public transportation, okay? But you can always also buy it on the tram. Last few things, guys, just to let you guys know where we are. So about the pastel de nata, the custard tarts, the best ones over here, guys. There's a lot of good ones. Do you guys see? There's a little bakery over here. There's the guy with the white shorts. There's a couple.
Oh, yeah.
She's all black. The guy's white shorts.
So inside there.
Now inside over there, there's a pretty
So we need to go.
cool bakery called Manteigaria. The butter makers or something like that. You see the two hands shaking over there. Very interesting one, very cool. This one. If you guys look over there, guys, you see the green umbrella all the way in the distance over there, where there's a red car right now. There's a green umbrella, a big green umbrella. That's at the top of the street. If you guys go through that street, you'll get, guys, do you guys remember I was telling you about the oldest bookshop in the world? Built around 1732.
Wow.
Or 34, if I'm not mistaken. 32 or 34. Very old. Guinness World of Records.
This is like 1,000.
Over there, 300 years old, more or less.
Yeah.
If you guys keep walking down, guys, after the bookshop on the right, called Bertrand.
On the right.
You keep walking down, on your left-hand side, there's gonna be one of my favorite, if not, it's probably my favorite nowadays, my favorite bakery for pastel de nata, called Castro,
Castro.
like Fidel Castro. Castro, in Portuguese name also. Castro. Delicious bakery. Go try it. It's a beautiful one, okay?
Yeah.
And then there's another one. If you guys walk down the hill over here, straight down the hill, you see this yellow building.
Yep.
There's a church also over there. You guys can walk down the hill towards the river. By the river, you would have the train station, guys. You guys hop on the train. It goes along the river to this one area called Belém. Right? You guys, it's like you have the river right over here, the bridge, the Golden Gate look-alike bridge. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
Yeah.
And Belém is just after, on this side of the river, but just after that. Belém would be the place where we would have these old monuments, the watchtower by the river, the big monastery by the river, and also the original bakery that came up with the recipe for this pastel de nata. The pastéis de Belém, Belém's pastries in Belém. If you guys check it out, guys,
Yeah.
Belém,
Yeah.
Belém,
Yeah.
Belém. It's along the river, very cool one, and it's the pretty cool area for you guys to check out also. I think you'll very much like it, okay? If you guys want to go back, guys, to the beginning of the tour where we met in Rocio Square, you see that one green umbrella at the top of the street? You guys walk to the end of that one street, Bertrand Bookshop on the right, Castro Bakery on the left. You guys keep walking down, street ends, go right or go left. You guys go left, it's the bottom of the elevator, the lift,
Oh, yeah.
where we started.
Yeah.
So you'll be very close to the beginning of the tour, guys, okay?